Welcome back, viewers at home. Now, with expertise in stress management as well as performance coaching, I am joined by Junaid Bayat, who is a life coach dedicated to helping individuals, especially students, navigate life's challenges. And I think tonight our focus is all on matriculants in terms of how they can, navigate this time in ways that doesn't only take away in terms of, their time of studying, but also, feeds them emotionally, feeds them, mentally in that sense. But Mr. Junaid, Jazakallah so much for joining us, and Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and the listeners. Jazakallah for hosting me and having me on.
Now, before we get into strategies on how they can navigate these, this crucial time, because it's between them going to university or probably not, I want to find out, what would you say are the common triggers when it comes to matriculants during exam sessions?
A beautiful question. Doing this work for so many years, we get it year in, year out. But, if I think about it, across the years, the thousands and thousands of matriculants, the biggest stress triggers, I would say, are three main things over the years. One is fear, the other is pressure, and the third one is uncertainty. So fear of what? Fear of failure, fear of disappointing themselves, disappointing their family, their parents, their school, and pressure to perform. So this is mainly system pressure. It's not so much actually about the exams, but the countdown and all of that. So the pressure to perform and being under pressure in those 3-hour exams. And the last one is a lot of uncertainty about their future. I mean, we're gonna have like about 850,000 matrics write this final exams. That's generally around about 800,000 annually, and not everybody's going to get in. So in reality, I would say it's not actually exam stress or the exam that creates stress. It's the meanings that we as students, teachers, and parents that attach to that exam. And when a student believes that, no, my whole life depends on that mark, the burden becomes very heavy and the stress becomes much bigger.
Yeah.
But when they shift the mindset to my effort is about a certain, I would call it my standard or my level of excellence, doing my best, then that stress will tend to fade away and move away. So, the whole thing, if I would actually tell you, is it's not in the books, it's not in the answer of questions, but it's all in the mindset.
Speaking about the mindset, you've mentioned quite very important elements that really lead to stress that we oftenly overlook: the idea of fear, pressure, and the uncertainty. How can then one individual who is undergoing identity crisis, because I mean, you're just what, 17, 18, you are, impressed by what's on social media and everything in between. How does then one juggle these three elements in ways that works for them? Because after all, we know that there's eustress and de-stress.
Yeah. So you mentioned the key word there. How do you, make it work for you? And this is the big thing, everybody. If you're listening, we do not fight the stress. We manage the stress. And how do we manage that stress? Is by understanding it, and then those emotions, how we now can transform them. So the key in terms of metric performance is all about rhythm, right? And there's a term that we use, we call it equipoise, when the brain, the body, and the heart is all aligned. So basically, you're saying my brain, my soul, and the body must all be aligned. This is the one thing that will handle all those three, that will handle all those three things, is when we get into equipoise. Because what this does is it lessens that heavy burden of that stress.
Yeah.
Some of the three practical things I'll give. Every student, every matriculant needs to do this. Study in what I call block time. You study for 20 minutes and have a 5 to 10 minute break.
Okay.
In that 20 minutes, high focus, no distractions, no food, no family, no friends, no distractions whatsoever. In the 5 minutes, yeah, now you wake up from where you were sitting, take a walk, drink some water, update status, do what you want. So we keep it high, in high performance, where there's no distractions and no disturbances, no interruptions. And the third thing is zikr. We gotta remember Allah. So I would tell all matriculants, surround or anchor your entire matric final exams around Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And how you do that is by constant zikr. And the one every year that I always tell people is Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Just leave it in Allah's plan. We can plan, we do everything. And also know this from a spiritual perspective, Allah does not look at the results. He's going to look at your effort. He's going to look at your sincerity and your intention. So that's how we manage those three things in the stress.
Now, Mr. Junaid, this was quite a lovely advice, and I feel that, any students who can consider this, trust you me, stress will be the least of their concerns. But I think I want to take a look at a very unique aspect in terms of individuals who are running their households, who don't have a very supportive family dynamic in terms of, they have to cook, they have to clean, they have to make sure their little siblings are taken care of, yet, juggling the idea of being a matriculant. What advice would you, or if you have any, share with them tonight?
Very simple. Life is not only about this matric exams. Even though it covers, it's going to take up a very important space in your life, in your journey. But I would tell people, don't study just for passing, or don't. This is a common quote of mine. Don't study for exams. Study for knowledge. So in this instance, for matrics, I would tell them study for mastery and for balance. Why I'm saying balance is, you must know there's a lot of, like what you said, they're looking after siblings, they got to cook, they got to clean. And I go to the rural schools, so this is common there. So the key is they've got to have balance. They cannot only be studying, right? If you're going to study for 8 hours and you're not going to sleep, you're not eating properly, you're not performing your salah, your memory, your performance, all is going to dip. So what we're going to do is, for these kind of people, they in challenging situations, I would always tell them strive for balance. You want to have enough amount of rest, sleep, revitalization, and the famous saying, sleep on it. So sleep is very key and detrimental to the memory. And also, matrix, do not think of sleep as wasted time. It's actually where your memory is stored, so it's actually helping your memory. So that's the advice I would give for those people under those trying and difficult circumstances and challenges.
Now, I want us to now look at the teachers and the parents, because earlier in your first response, you mentioned something so important where, they are grilling this idea that this is a do or die situation, and they're not, encouraging it in a more positive element of, do your best and we'll work with what
Yeah,
your
yeah.
best has to offer. How would you best, advise those, parents and teachers in terms of supporting matriculants or just supporting students throughout their, academic life in that sense?
Here I've been speaking to a few parents over the last 2 weeks in person, and it's all about shifting our mindset as parents and teachers from comparisons and numbers to compassion. Parents that are out there listening to me, it's not about asking your child, how much did you study? You do not, at this point in time, it's the end of the year, you do not want to be using that parenting approach. You got to have more compassion. Ask them, how are you feeling about the sessions that you did? I'm saying students, the metrics right now, they don't need any lectures. They don't need to be listening. What they need right now, especially from parents, is a lot of love and light guidance, not lectures. Do that, you didn't study enough. So for parents, this is the best time to become your child's biggest support system. And when it comes to teachers, my word, they are under so much pressure. So, what I say will be very little, but, the teachers out there, they're doing amazing work. They're trying to push this entire curriculum. They need to finish it. I mean, they finished it, and now it's the ultimate test for them as teachers on the performance of their students. So for teachers, hats off to them. They've done an amazing job. It's parents, you're going to be encountering the kids a lot at home. You want to keep it light, guide them, give them lots of love, and listen to them. That's my advice to the parents.
That was lovely. And with that, looking back at the students themselves, I just want to find out from you, what advice would you share with them? Any suggestions in terms of dealing with, feeling inadequate or the fear of failing their exams in that sense? And I think also most importantly, how can they set realistic goals and develop that habit of, celebrating those small achievements that they make on their way?
Right now, if you think about it, now this is what I generally teach in my metric masterminds, is at this point in time, there's no time to set out goals. Or can I say, what kind of goals we call them? Objective goals. Now, or outcome goals. Now is the time to set what I call process goals. So this means, like, instead of saying, I want to achieve 80% in maths, you rather say the process. I would rather, or you'll tell yourself instead, I will study 90 minutes every day in the morning, doing revision. In the afternoon, I'll do one past your paper. So it's all about the process. It's not the outcome that you want, not the 80%. It's about setting process goals. So every day, I'm going to do 3 study sessions, one 90 minutes in the morning. In the afternoon, I'm going to do a past your paper. In the evening, I'm going to look at the gaps, what I got. So it's about shifting from the objectives or outcome goals and move more to simplifying their processes. And how to celebrate those wins is look at all the things you've accomplished. Oh man, I finished this section, I finished the revision, I answered this past year paper. Even simple things like I just improved on my writing speed, because writing speed is going to help you guys as matriculants as well. And another very important thing is you got to have this attitude of gratitude. So, make sure you take out time every night to look at what are 3 things I can be very grateful for. And also, every little accomplishment, every little session you finish is an achievement. So celebrate it, reward yourself. And this is what kicks off the dopamine that keeps you motivated for longer periods. Smaller successes build bigger successes. So nothing builds success better than success. So yeah, have that. And the last thing I would tell Matrix is also keep grounded. Keep yourself grounded. And I mean literally and physically grounded. So, put your head down in sajda position because it has good effects. There's, scientifically they say all the negativity comes out of your brain and goes into the ground. So also, ground yourself. Make sajda an extra, extra 2 sajdas in the day. You can ask for something, or just keep yourself there, being grounded. You'll find yourself much more composed and calmer than others are out there.
Mr. Junaid, I would have loved to continue this conversation because you're bringing so much insight in terms of how we can create a more calmer environment rather than a pressure-filled environment for the students throughout their, academic journey. But unfortunately, we have run out of time. But I'll ask from you any closing remarks regarding, managing stress and dear matriculants.
You know, all I could say is it's all about your mindset and your performance. This exam is not a definition of who you are. It's just a result along the way in the journey of your life. So do not put too much emphasis. Allah has bigger plans for you. If you didn't do too well, it's okay. Life continues. That's it for me. Jazakallah khair. Allah bless you all.
Jazakallah so much. That viewers at home, that was Mr. Junaid Bayat, a life coach dedicated to helping individuals. And tonight he was really empowering students on how to develop a healthy coping strategies and to achieve success in their studies and also incorporating Allah in the process.